Good morning and welcome to Sunrise at Stevens Pass. Today I am continuing one of my long-held goals to climb mountains with silly names, and that is what today's snowshoeing mission is for. Today I'm going to be climbing two mountains, both of which have unusual names. The main objective for today is a little mountain called Welldigger's Ass. And yes, that is the mountain's actual name. And also, I'm going to be climbing one of its sub-peaks called Mount Weird. So we have an unusual peak name and a really silly peak name today. This is going to be about 5 miles round trip with 2,000 feet of gain. Going to be snowshoeing, I think, the entire way. It is about 25 degrees, so I got to get moving, but it's going to be beautiful. Look at these gorgeous sunrise mountains behind me, and there's supposed to be some pretty cool views up on this ridge. I made it halfway out to the ridge and I'm on this brief respite in the forest, and it's so pretty. The frost here is kind of like dragon scales. Like, look at this. Oh, it's so cool. I can see where I'm going, so I think I'm gonna be tagging Mount Weird first. So I gotta get up on this ridge. Weird is to the west, and then go east along the ridge to Welldigger's Ass. Sorry, I'm not gonna be mature about that mountain name. I'm just not. That's not why I'm here today. We're here for silly mountain names, but Weird is the closest, so I want to get that because I have a suspicion on the way back down I will not want to go and tag it on the way back. So, gonna get it first and then go on the ridge, and I'm really looking forward to this ridge. It looks really cool. Made it to the summit of Mount Weird, and it is a completely forested summit, but I mean, you don't climb this one for the view, you climb it for the snowshoeing adventure and, of course, the name of the mountain. I mean, I don't know. Also, it is really pretty because I got up here right as the sun is filtering through the trees so beautifully. So, as far as forested summits goes, this one is not too bad. But now I have done most of the climbing, so now what I'm gonna do is continue down this ridge heading east and head on over to Welldigger, and there should be some more views along the ridge, and that summit is more open. But gonna enjoy more of this beautiful glowing forest on the way down. So I gotta go down Weird, hit the ridge, take the ridge to Welldigger. Oh, one summit down, one to go. Well, I made it back down onto the ridge. I'm in the saddle between the two summits. And that is where I'm going next. That is Welldigger, and it does have this exposed area there, so should get some views, but the view from the ridge is also not too bad. But now I get to enjoy kind of an easy part until I get to that last ascent up to the summit, but it is so perfectly still. There is no wind. There are no clouds. Yeah, it's just so peaceful up here. It's just me and the snow and that beautiful sun. Woohoo! Summit of Welldigger's Ass. An absolutely ridiculous name for a mountain, but it's fun. I really thought this is cool. Has this open view facing this direction from the summit, and the other half is the woods here. This is the ridge, and then view down the valley. Just beautiful, perfectly blue skies and no wind. Like, this is the perfect day to get up here. But yeah, that was fun, and boy, I have been very curious about getting on top of this mountain ever since I was like poking around on maps, and I noticed the names of both of these peaks on this ridge, and I was like, how do I get up there? And I found out that the best time of year to do it is in the snow, because otherwise this is a bushwhack. But when there is snow and when you got the conditions right, you can just snowshoe right on up, and it's pretty easy. And yeah, I gotta say, this is gorgeous and so worth it. I mean, these are not the most spectacular summits, but the views have been very good, and this is just making the peak bagger of me so happy. Oh, but it is finally warm. It's like 43 degrees now. It's nice and warm in the sun, so I'm gonna hang out and then head on back down the ridge, because it does take longer to travel in snow than just on a nice dirt trail, but that is part of the fun. I'm at the edge of the woods, the end of the ridge, and now I am officially headed back down to the saddle and then back down to my car. This is the open slope where there's a bit of a burn here. That bump right there, that's Mount Weird. So you can see where I was. So I go down here, get the saddle, and then go down that to my car. It should be beautiful, get some more views of these mountains. The saddle is where the really pretty views of the mountains are. So this is gonna be really fun. But yeah, just one steep slope to navigate and then I'll be basically home free. Well, that was Mount Weird to Welldigger's ass snowshoe ridge traverse, I guess. This is just a fun day of peak bagging, and the views were a lot better than I was honestly expecting, because there's not like a ton of info about this route because not a lot of people do it. But it is actually really beautiful, especially the saddle. There's some really good views, and I'm happy. I got 2 summits in today, and they were both more unusual mountains. And a couple of notes about this route. First of all, this is not a trail. If you try and do this in the summer, you're going to end up trying to do a bushwhack. This is a seasonal thing. And then also, this is a pretty good snowshoe / ski, I guess, if you're into that. There aren't a ton of like really risky slopes. It's not technical, but I would call it an intermediate snowshoe just because there is quite a bit more gain. There's some steeper sections, so I wouldn't say this is the most beginner friendly. And then also navigation. Navigation is important as well because it's pretty easy to get turned around in the woods up there and stuff, especially if nobody has set a track yet. So this is kind of one where you need to do a little bit more preparation, but overall the route itself is pretty easy. I think there's nothing too crazy, and now I can drive down Highway 2 and finally have checked these 2 strange little mountains off my list, and that does feel good. Now I have a gorgeous drive back over Stevens Pass in my future, and then I get to see all the mountains covered in snow, so I have to get going. Thank you so much for watching, and here are my favorite pictures from the trail today. Enjoy.